A young conscript, exhausted from digging trenches on a volcanic rock in the middle of nowhere, mutters a complaint under his breath. This island is a real dump. Just his luck, a sergeant happens on Suribachi, ordering his officers to accelerate construction of the mountain tunnel defenses. His subordinates, however, push back. They want to defend the beaches and believe a Banzai charge is the only way to show the empire's true spirit. Kuribayashi ignores them. He knows he's one of the few sane men left in a high command drowning in militaristic fervor. Just as he predicted, the American air raids become a daily occurrence, the standard playbook before a full-scale landing. Thanks to Kuribayashi's tunnels, however, Japanese casualties are minimal, but his pleas for reinforcements go unanswered. The men they send aren't even enough for a single platoon. The feeling of helplessness sinks in for everyone, especially grunts like Saigo. To make things worse, Saigo learns a new soldier in his unit is a former Kempeitai, the dreaded military police. A wave of pure hatred washes over him. It was the Kempeitai who had raided his home and shattered his family life. Just when he thought it was over, an even more terrifying presence appeared at his door, an officer with a draft notice. He remembers his pregnant wife begging the officer. But in this country, humanity was in short supply. You must fulfill your duty, the officer had said. Forced into the army, all Saigo and the others can do on this miserable island is write letters home they know will never be sent. Due to military censorship, all mail is being secretly confiscated. Still, General Kuribayashi encourages the men to write. Like the Banzai cheers they're forced to shout. It's a hollow gesture, but it's just enough to keep their spirits from breaking completely. And they're going to need that spirit. On February 16, 1945, a wire from HQ arrives. The American fleet has left Saipan. Kuribayashi knows what this means. The battle for Iwo Jima will begin in 2 days. After a moment of thought, he gathers his men for a final speech. Dressed in his formal uniform, he gives them the traditional brainwashing routine. But seeing the fear on some of their faces, he declares, "I will always be at the very front, leading the charge." 400 warships, 380 landing craft, and a terrifying 70,000 Marines. At dawn on the 19th, the real bombardment begins, pounding Mount Suribachi relentlessly. Inside the tunnels, the air is thick with dread. The soldiers are given a rare meal of white rice, and they can't help but wonder if it's their last. Right on cue, the sergeant, a man named Furuta, stomps over. "Saigo," he barks, "you make damn sure that human waste bucket is secure, or you'll answer to me." Saigo can only curse him under his breath, wishing a bomb would find him. But when he peeks outside and sees the sea, black with the steel tide of the American fleet, the hatred evaporates, replaced by pure terror. At 9 a.m. sharp, the beach landing begins. As shells rain down, Saigo, almost unconsciously, scrambles to protect the stupid waste bucket. Maybe long-term, his second-in-command is panicking. But Kuribayashi is calm, waiting. His plan is to let them crowd the shore before opening fire, a massive, pre-sighted kill box. At the same time, the hidden Japanese soldiers are at their breaking point, having never witnessed a force this massive. 5 minutes later, the Americans reach the designated kill zone. Kuribayashi gives the order, "Fire." In the chaos, Saigo is running ammo to a heavy machine gun nest, protected by the mountain's terrain. His unit has taken no casualties so far. The soldiers on the beach, however, are annihilated in under 30 minutes. Just after the report comes in that the beach has fallen, a shell hits the eastern flank. The machine gunner is thrown through the air, and Furuta sees that the gun has been destroyed. He orders Saigo to run to the command post and request support from Colonel Adaki. But as Saigo sprints through the chaos, something happens that enrages General Kuribayashi. Colonel Adaki calls in, stating that given the overwhelming enemy fire, his men wish to preserve their honor and request permission for Yusui, Gyokusai, a final suicidal Banzai charge. Kuribayashi furiously denies the request, ordering Adaki to fall back to the northern positions. But before he can finish, The line goes dead. The colonel has decided to disobey orders. He turns to Saigo, who has just arrived, and gives him a new command, ordering them to fix bayonets. In that moment, something in Saigo snaps. He's filled with a cold rage at the war, at the country that had stripped him of his most basic right to even exist. As his comrades charge out into a curtain of fire and are cut down one by one, he stays put. Soon, only Saigo and Sergeant Furuta are left. Furuta slowly turns and raises his pistol to execute Saigo for his cowardice. But before he can fire, a shell lands right between them, and the sergeant is gone. Saigo looks over and sees that one other soldier survived the blast, the Kempeitai, Shimizu. But Shimizu is filled with a fanatic's shame. He raises his rifle at Saigo, regretting that he failed to die for the emperor. Is it wrong to want to live? Saigo asks, his voice shaking. Shimizu hesitates, then slowly lowers his weapon. Without another word, he turns and follows Saigo as they run, making their way toward the northern positions. But the northern flank has also been overrun. Their commander decides to lead the survivors toward the main fortifications at Mount Suribachi. They don't get far before they're ambushed. Thinking ahead, Saigo and Shimizu had stayed at the back of the column. As the firefight erupts, they slip away, taking a different path to save their own skins. The next morning, the two of them finally reach the Mount Suribachi command post. The commander there, Captain Ito, is furious to see them. "Are you two deserters from the eastern flank?" he demands. Thinking on his feet, Shimizu lies and gives the name of a fallen officer. This only enrages the captain more. "On your knees," he snarls. And Saigo looks up to see the cold, unforgiving glint of a freshly drawn katana. Just as the cold steel of the katana is about to fall, a familiar voice saves them once again. "What's all this?" Claims that since the eastern flank on Mount Suribachi fell, these two are responsible. Hearing the name, Suribachi, Kuribayashi's face darkens. He has no time for petty discipline. Losing the high ground of Suribachi is like losing half of Iwo Jima. And then he sees it, the site that would become one of the most famous images of the entire war, an American flag, now flying atop the mountain. Furious, Kuribayashi orders Ito to hold his current position at all costs. But the moment the general is out of sight, Ito hatches his own plan. That night, Saigo and Shimizu are kicked awake. Captain Ito, disobeying direct orders, is leading his men on a glorious mission to retake Mount Suribachi. Trapped, they have no choice but to go along. As Ito is briefing his men for the assault, a lone shout echoes from the darkness up ahead. "Banzai!" Mind. He grabs the colonel by his uniform. "We have to attack. We have to take back the mountain now." Colonel Nishi, a man known for his calm, simply reminds Ito of his duty and the chain of command. He takes Saigo and Shimizu into his own unit and lets the disgraced Ito go. Stumbling back to the battlefield, Ito looks upon the bodies of the men he led to their deaths. For the first time, a flicker of something other than rage crosses his face. He orders his few remaining soldiers to join Colonel Nishi's unit. As for him, he grabs a satchel charge, intending to meet his end by taking out an American tank. His men are stunned. This beast of a man was showing them mercy. Seizing the chance to live, they scramble back to the safety of the caves. Meanwhile, in the command bunker, General Kuribayashi finally gets a reply from Imperial HQ. The words hit him like a physical blow. The telegram is blunt. The strategic situation is dire. No reinforcements can be sent. The Iwo Jima garrison is expected to fight to the end. More bad news follows. The commander of another airfield garrison, defying Kuribayashi's ban on suicide charges, led his 1,000 men in a final Yusui, Gyokusai, attack. All are dead. For these fanatics, dying a loyal death was the only dignity they had left. On the other side of the island, Colonel Nishi's unit has set up a defense. He correctly predicts an American armored assault, but his men are well prepared. Using experimental rocket launchers from a high ground position, they easily knock out several tanks. They even manage to capture a wounded American Marine. Colonel Nishi, who learned English to compete in the 1932 Los Angeles Olympics as a gold medalist equestrian. Hopes to interrogate him, but the Marine dies before he can say anything. Searching his body, Nishi finds a letter. He reads it aloud to his men. It's from the Marine's mother. The men, thinking of their own family, they are waiting for their unit to move up. So 2 Marines are left to guard him. Shimizu notices another Japanese prisoner nearby and, his heart filled with warmth, begins talking to him. This panics the American guards. Afraid the chatter will attract enemy fire, one of them nervously raises his rifle. Shimizu sees it, his face a mask of horror and regret. It's too late. After everything, his fate finds him anyway. Soon after, Major Okubo's unit finds the bodies. The price of desertion is etched into every soldier's mind. For Saigo, all hope is gone. The next morning, they reach the front lines of the main headquarters. But their path is blocked by heavy machine gun fire. Okubo orders a desperate charge. One by one, the men are cut down. In a final act, Okubo throws a grenade to draw fire, allowing the few survivors to scramble into the command bunker. They report to General Kuribayashi. He sees there. The headquarters has been out of water and food for days. Then, the general's eyes fall on Saigo. He remembers him. I saved you from that captain's sword. He says. That was the second time. Sir, Saigo replies, his voice filled with gratitude. The first was from the sergeant's club. For a brief moment, the tension breaks. I promise, the general says softly, I will save you a third time. But soon, that promise feels hollow. Surrounded and doomed, Saigo resigns himself to death. That evening, Kuribayashi gives Saigo his final orders. He is to stay behind in the bunker and burn all remaining military documents. Saigo doesn't understand it at first. But this is the general's third rescue. A plausible reason for Saigo to stay behind. But their number one target, General Kuribayashi, is nowhere to be found. Lying near the beach, Kuribayashi knows the end has come. He asks his adjutant to perform the final ritual and end his life with his service sword. But just as the adjutant raises the blade, he is shot and killed by an American sniper on the ridge. A few moments later, Saigo, making his way to the coast, finds the dying general. Seeing the young soldier, Kuribayashi gives him one last, simple task. Bury me, where they will not find me. He then slowly pulls out his sidearm, a Colt M1911. A gift from an American officer friend before the war. He would not die by an American bullet. And he could not die by his own sword. With his last bit of strength, he ends his own life. Saigo begins to drag the general's body to a secluded spot. But he's too late. An American squad, tasked with finding Kuribayashi, arrives. They don't see the general, but they spot his unique pistol on the ground. They know he's near. They find Saigo hiding behind a rock. But Saigo doesn't cower. He sees the American officer holding the general's pistol, and something inside him finally ignites. He lets out a cry of pure grief and rage and knives. As he looks out at the setting sun, he prays for the war to finally end. Years later, in 2005, Japanese archaeologists investigating Iwo Jima dig up a sealed parcel. Inside are the hundreds of letters Saigo buried, the last words of the men who fought and died there. To this day, they serve not only as a record of their sorrow, but as a testament to the unanswered questions of a war that should never be forgotten.